So we just saw that do loop. So he says do loops. A different type of loop structure is a do loop instead of a for loop or for next loop, also called do loops for short. This type of loop allows repeated execution of a set of statements, but with loop termination, when do we stop? Based on a conditional test, true or false, right? In the example I gave you, it was true or false here. Let's see. I can't find an example, but it was based on I less than or equal to 4, right? So based on I less than or equal to 4, so based on a conditional test, if I is less than 4, that would be true. If I is not less than 4, that would be false. So a conditional test is a true or false test. Note, not on the value of a built-in loop index, right? So like the for loop is based on the value of a built-in loop index. Although he somehow said that even that was a conditional test. But these can be used to execute a loop an indefinite number of times. So we don't necessarily know how many times the loop is going to run. So as I said, if you do for, you know it's going to run from start to end, that many iterations, of course, based on the step. But when you do when you do the do while loop, you don't necessarily know how many times it's going to run. So it's an indefinite number of times. This is different than a for next loop, which has a set number of cycles. Warning, for all types of do loops, so there's a couple different variations on the do loops. There's the for loops, and then there's the do loops, and there are a couple different ways we can write the do loops. But anyway, for all types of do loops, we will need to declare a loop index by ourselves. Remember, I did that at the beginning before the loop. Maybe I'll say that in a minute. If we need one. If so, we must also increment it during each iteration by ourselves. Don't forget. So he says we need to declare a loop index and we need to increment it. So the index is I, so we need to declare it first up here, and we need to increment it here. And he says, don't forget to increment it, right? Otherwise you'll get the infinite loop.